Mike? I don't know. There we go. Got some hot love, baby, this evening. Testing, testing. 5, 6, 7. Hello, Convergence.
It doesn't work. Speak up. I can't hear you.
You really don't want me to do that. You really do not ask me to go herald voice on the microphone. It's a bad idea.
With a louder voice than you.
He doesn't need a mic. All right, so it's 1 o'clock. It's actually past 1 o'clock, which means it is time for the meet and greet. We have one candidate, and you all know him, but you get to meet and greet him anyway. If you got questions, now's the time. Here is a man who requires no introduction.
Hi, everyone. I bet you're wondering why I called you all here.
There's no excuse.
I am Jonathan Palmer. I am the current director over external relations and communications, and I am running for the position of external relations and communications. I love Convergence. I love doing the work, and I would appreciate your vote in favor of me. So I'm happy to answer any questions or comments or tell bad dad jokes. I've got a bunch of those. That's the thing that might tank my chances of getting reelected, but you know, even unopposed. Anybody have?
I do have. My only concern is that I understand that you have dealt with like some major issues when we're doing the move. Are you really? Has it just been better since we moved here that you're not having to deal with the drama?
Are you talking about me specifically or the board as a whole?
Well, I understand that
They what? They so for people who aren't fully know what we're talking about, when we had some of the negotiation meetings during our final year at the other place, they tried some intimidation tactics. So when we were meeting, they said to me, "Oh, and you know, it must be your parents must be so proud of you growing up in the DC area, and your mom being with the Carter administration." And so they started naming personal details of my background, and made some comments towards things of my personal life. So they know how to use Google. Wow. And they really thought that our group would be intimidated by tactics like that when we've been through much worse as Convergence. So it was something that was inappropriate. It was a tactic that they tried, but it's not something that burned me out or burned any of the board members. I appreciate the question, though.
You don't know us very well.
No, they don't. I've heard that. Any other questions? Eric?
So historically, running for director has a lot of times been unopposed, or it's just two candidates or somebody's quit and they have to fill in. What are you doing, or what can you as a director do to broaden that pool to get people to throw themselves under the bus, and so we have more choices?
So did everybody hear that? You want me to repeat it?
Yes, repeat it.
Okay, so what Eric was asking is that traditionally when we've had these elections, they've ended up being people running unopposed or only two candidates, and asked what can I do specifically to try to get people to throw themselves under the bus and run for office. It is a great question, and there's a couple pieces to that. One, the board has actually been talking about this. And so we're going to do some things differently this year at the CONCom general meeting. So there's always, does everybody know that we have a meeting? It's generally, I think, Friday at like 5 o'clock of the general meeting, so the board is all there. You get to meet the board. We talk about, it's an update to the membership about what's going on with Convergence, and that's a great place to ask questions. We want to try to change how we're doing that so that people get a little bit more engaged and create some excitement. So you're going to see just a little bit of different format with that. We'll have some more information going out about what's going on and try to get people to stop in at that meeting. More opportunities to meet. We've also talked about some fun panels that we could do with the board in terms of engagements that would also, I mean, you're drinking with geeks, maybe it's drinking with the board, I don't know, or maybe it's, you know, beef jerky with the board.
I have actually had another suggestion during my divisional that the board actually do like maybe in March, we actually just open the floor for what the heck is this board thing anyway?
That's a great idea. So Mikey said that a suggestion in his divisional about opening up the floor in March for just information. What the heck is this board? And people having a chance to ask some questions. Also, some of the things that we've been doing that we're working on, you've seen some new departments come up. We've got a new marketing department. We've got more things going on with partnerships. So we're also trying to build in some more things that are for the membership. Some more opportunities throughout the year to engage, working with some of our partners, working with some of the new opportunities we have with like the film festival and things like that, so that your membership and your connection to people is not just at the convention. That we can do things maybe once a quarter that you can come out, hang out with your 6,000 best friends and talk a little bit more. So the things that we'll be doing, the things that I'll be working on is more events throughout the year for us to engage with each other, more opportunities for people to get to know about the board. And also, I just put out personally, if you have questions about the board, about Convergence, and you want to, just feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm happy to sit down with anybody, talk with you about what the board is, how this works, talk with you about the process. Sometimes if you're not familiar with how we do things, it can be confusing. And I'm happy to take the time to just sit down and talk to people directly about that.
We have feedback from the chat, by the way. That sounds awesome.
Okay, great. We'll keep doing that then. Mikey said we have to.
We are trying an experiment today where we're actually watching the chat that's associated with the live stream so that people can feedback and ask questions. And I was making it clear that we've had feedback off the chat saying that this all sounds awesome.
All right. Other questions, comments? Anybody, you know, this is your opportunity to meet me if you haven't met me, but most of you have met me, so.
Where did you get the t-shirt?
eBay, Mondoware, I think it was. If you're not familiar, it's the FIFA World Cup, Wakanda, and so yeah, kind of my favorites in here. So yeah.
We have a question from the chat.
Okay.
Who's your favorite doctor?
Who's my favorite doctor? That is a fair one. It is a tie between 10 and 4. However, Jody has made me very, very happy, and I think Jody has come into the running. So I think I'm going in a 3-way tie now, if that is feasible and possible between 10 and Jody and Baker.
3-way tie in an election?
Yeah, you know, it can happen.
It's Chicago all over again.
I have my daughter and my wife, we all watch The New Doctor together, and it hurts me to wait until they are all available to do that, but I do that, and I think Jody is phenomenal. Huh? Try New Amsterdam, okay. Other questions? Yes.
How do you plan to encourage people to nominate or run for board positions that we don't have incumbents?
So Eric actually just asked that question about 5 minutes ago, and we answered that. I'll go back to it for you. We've got some new things happening at the meeting at Con. that will go ahead and get people a little bit more aware. We've had a suggestion to open up the March meeting to have a what is this board thing anyway, and give people a chance to ask questions. The March meeting, we're working on some new opportunities throughout the year for people to engage around convergence and looking at that, some things to go with there. And then I'm happy to sit down with anybody personally that has questions about the board, about process, about things going. Is that good, Trish?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for camping.
No problem. Anybody else? Other things? Stephanie. Who are you? You are Jennifer Walters, also known as She-Hulk, a lawyer by day, dynamic powerhouse by day also. Often green, but not just when you're angry, other times too, when it's needed.
Sorry. Not sorry, but sorry.
Unfortunately, the magazine miscorrected the pictures.
I'm trying to get rid of myself to make it
So I mean, I'm happy to just stand here with a mic, but if nobody's got questions and anything, we can. Do you want to close this down? Do you want to keep going?
People are still migrating in. You can't escape that easily.
I'm not trying to escape. It's not like I can go anyplace. I'm right here.
I kicked out all my people.
Okay.
Bird.
Actually, can I borrow the microphone for just a
Oh,
moment?
I'm stepping aside. Margaret wants to borrow the microphone.
Ashley, if you're here, I am up at the front table. Come find me and we will talk.
Yes.
We have a question off the chat from
Okay.
Lauren Sint, totally not a plant. What are your plans to bring new members and members from new portions of our community?
Okay.
Into the broader community.
So, again, one of the things that we're going to do is at the convention meeting that happens at the convention, is change the format, have more engagement around that, get people looking at that and coming in and talking more and giving people more an opportunity to understand that that is a thing that we are doing and that they can ask all the questions, wondering about what happened with the con. We talked about the March meeting opening up for the board. This is board specific. I'll get to you in just a minute, Laura.
She is asking, by the way, more generally, not just how we're going to get more people on the board, but how we're going to get more people in this room.
Yep, and I was just going to recap this piece because those are also opportunities to get more people in the room, and then add a few more parts. So with that, also then looking at other opportunities for us to engage, which is what fits into how do we recruit more members. So building up some of the partnerships that we have, establishing new partnerships so that we can work with different organizations. With this being in August, that presents a new opportunity this year to engage people who otherwise weren't able to come around the July 4th holiday. So it's an opportunity with that. We're going to be doing more marketing, more outreach to different organizations, to different conventions, so that we can try to reach out to our communities and looking at opportunities with each of community partners that we have, but also just places where our people might hang out. Looking at some of the venues that they go to, looking at some of the other activities and utilizing those as places where we can do outreach and connecting into people. Laura, you had a question?
I did. How do you, as a director or as a board member, plan on making sure that, yes, while these other groups come in and we get more people to come to Convergence, that we don't alienate the people we already have here?
That's a fair question. I'm hopeful that the people that we're bringing in would be people that can fit within our community. What I love about Convergence is there's something for everybody. Everybody doesn't have to be into the same thing in order to be a part of it. And what I think is beautiful about Convergence is that no matter what you're into within the geeky sphere, there's a place for you here. There's a connection. You don't have to be into anime or Harry Potter to feel at home here. You can be into superheroes. You can be into, Lord of the Rings. There's a wide variety. So I think there's a level of where it naturally fits because we're getting people who have an interest in this. I think it's also, as we bring people in, making sure that we're just as welcoming and help people to connect. The reason why I got involved with Convergence was because a friend brought me to this, and I looked around and I said, I found my people. And I think as we bring others in, they're going to look around and say, I found my people, and this is the place where I fit, where I feel connected, where I can be myself, where I can be supported to be myself. And I think that's going to go ahead to help address any, I don't want to say tension that there would be. I'm hoping there isn't. But, if people come with tension, I think it's more of a matter of just sitting down and talking with people and working together.
I got you, John.
All right, Eric.
How do you plan, or what are your plans to increase volunteering so we aren't always running short in spots?
Cage match. We're going to go ahead and he asked what was my plans to increase volunteering so that we're not always running short. And I said cage match, but that probably would get us less volunteers, or it might get us more. You never know. But I think in terms of the outreach, that's the opportunity we have. Looking at bringing more people into the community, more people getting connected. There are a lot of people, believe it or not, who don't know about Convergence and don't know the awesome thing that this community is. And when I talk to people who aren't aware and I tell them all the things that we do and all this is about, they're shocked and they're excited. So I think, we're going to do more outreach efforts and more pushes to bring people in, which will get us towards more volunteers. We also have organizations that we're going to establish some partnerships with that specialize in volunteers and trying to utilize that as a way to connect more people into what the convention is, what the membership is, what the whole of Convergence is. Because it's not just a convention. It is a membership that you have to be part of this community. It is a membership to be part of this body and help to direct it to where you want to see the community be and make sure it is a place for everyone. No more questions. I'm going to start singing in a minute. You guys. Strangers in the night. What?
Beat the thing about the thing with the thing.
Beat the thing about the thing with the thing. Not that thing.
Okay.
Did you have one, Steph?
No, I was encouraging you to start singing.
Oh, wow. There you go. See? Yes, Andy.
I don't know if this question's been asked, but.
It better not be how we're going to recruit new people to the board.
No, I heard
Okay.
that answer, and I heard cage match, and I think I'm okay with that.
All right.
'Cause
I'm not, I gotta fix them afterwards.
There's ways around that. Now that you've been on the board for the last few years, what's been your favorite single moment of being on the board and watching this whole entertainment go on?
And how much Scott's is involved.
Okay, so there have been a number of favorite moments, but I think the one that I would hail as the best was when we were dealing with the place that shall not be named, and we had a meeting to talk about what we were going to do and how we were going to go forward. And the entire convention committee said, we got your back. That everybody came together. We were dealing with an adverse situation, with an adversary that was not being fair, that was acting inappropriately. And our community came together and said, we're not going to take this. We're going to go ahead and do it. And for me, it was like that scene in Endgame. Hey, it's a spoiler. If you haven't seen the movie yet, that's on you. But when Captain America is standing at the bottom of the hill and all of Thanos' forces are up there and they're all gathering, and then all of a sudden you hear Cap on your left, and everybody shows up. And for me, that's what convergence is that we're all here, we've got each other's back. There wasn't scotch involved in that piece. I think that was just people coming together good. In terms of the scotch, Lagavulin 16, that's a really good one of standard favorites. Huh? But 18 is good too, but I still have a mortgage to pay, and things like that. A kid that's going to college in a couple of years, so I got to think about those things.
Got a question off the chat. How do we currently tell colleges, high schools, scout troops that they can get volunteer hours credit in their organizations based on our nonprofit status? And I'd extend that myself further. Do we tell people that they can get that, like if their corporations, if their employers offer volunteer time, volunteer hours? How good are we at telling people about that?
And those, I think, are three different questions. Do we do it? Yes. How good are we at doing it? Not good enough. And how much have we done it? Not nearly enough. So I think it is something that we've shared with people. It's an opportunity for us to get more people engaged by utilizing that. We have a lot of companies that go ahead and will either pay their employees or give them time off to go and volunteer. And there's a lot of companies that, again, have people who are nerdy and geeky but don't know about convergence or things. If they can get a day off to come and volunteer at this, I think they would love that. And so that would go into the outreach efforts. We need to do more of that. We need to do better of that. And that's one of the things that I see us employing this year.
Follow up to that.
Yes.
Do we have a list of the companies that offer that?
We don't have a list of the companies that offer that. That would be, I think, a little difficult to put together because it is really far reaching. We've asked people to check in with their companies. And one of the things that could be, check in with, if you work for someplace, check in and see if they do it, and then share that back and we can put together a list. But 3M, Target, St. Paul Foundations, the list it is quite an expansive list of companies that do that. Tends to be larger companies, tends to be ones with a philanthropic arm on them. 3M, Target, Cargill, all of them have foundations, and so they invest heavily into the volunteer and philanthropic efforts. But some of the smaller ones do that as well. So we could put together a list if people can check with their respective ones, and we can scan through the community, but it's a rather large and it'll take a little time to do that.
As a board member, what is the one thing you want to accomplish above all else?
Harmony. I know that sounds corny as all get out, but
that was your throwaway answer.
Oh man, but it's actually true. Hear me out on this a little bit. This is hard work. Every one of you is volunteering and spending your free time to come in here and put on a convention that we get 6,000 people at. People don't really recognize that. When I talk to people about the convention, if they're not within our sphere, the first thing I go, oh, okay, a bunch of people dressing up. And then I say, no, we've got 350 plus volunteers that work throughout the year, and we get 6,000 people. That is almost unheard of in terms of the amount of effort that comes in with that. So that takes a lot. And everyone in here is putting in a lot of their time. It's things that you could be doing other things with. So I am very appreciative that we have people as dedicated to this. And because of that, the more we can do to make this smooth, to make it easier, to make it fun for people, all the better. It should not be a place that you come and be a part of this and you're dreading, or that it is burning you out. And it does sometimes burn you out. It is a lot to take on. And if you're dealing with this and personal issues or work stress, it can be a whole bunch. So when I say harmony, I'm talking about balance for everybody. That people can be a part of this and enjoy it and give their all, but not feel tapped at the end of it. So the more that can be done around that, where people can get back what they're putting in, they can feel comfortable, they can feel happy, and they really enjoy, and we're still putting on the high quality convention that we have done, that for me is the best thing.
Okay, I'm all out of questions.
Okay.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Somebody just want to thank.
I said, give us a moment to think.
Yeah, no, take your time. I'm here. I'm standing. I'm not going anywhere. I got the meeting at 2. There used to be 20 dwarves. It wasn't until they were down to 8 that they began to suspect hungry. Dad joke.
Wow.
Ed picked up on that right off the bat. There you go. It's right in the thing.
Rim shot.
Did I just lose votes because of that? Is that?
You might.
Yeah, they're all going.
I have a question. Hi, JP. What would you say are one or two of the skills or one or two of the competencies you feel are great to have as a member of emergency events that don't seem as necessary as a head or sub-head? You know, we have our own lived experiences, the skills we bring to the table, but you might need different skills to be successful. What would you say those skills are?
When you're successful as a member of Convergence or member of the board?
On the board.
Okay. What are the skills that you need to be successful as a member of the board? Pulse is really one of the key ones that I like to highlight. No,
Sorry.
I know it's tricky. No, with to be on the board, to be successful on the board, one of the great things about having a board as diverse as we do is that people come from different expertise and different experiences and bring those in. I think what you have to have is one, the ability to talk and be civil and be amicable with each other, because the board spends a lot of time throughout the year, both virtually and in person, going over the details, looking through things, sometimes having to make tough decisions, sometimes having to work with our different divisions to try to help support them in the best ways. So it takes the ability to have the conversations with people that you may not agree with, but you still got to have a conversation. And you still got to have a civil conversation, because we've got to work together. We've got to be on the same page after the deliberations. We can argue as much as we want. Sometimes those arguments even get heated, but it can't be something that becomes a rift within the board and becomes a rift within you and the community. People need to be able to work together, talk together. So that ability to have a conversation and do it in a civil, productive manner. And I think a sense of humor. It may sound, non-traditional, but there's some stuff that happens throughout the year that if you do not have a sense of humor, it is really gonna drag you in and drag you down. We have odd situations that come up. All of you have dealt with some of the odd situations that have come up. We have to be able to laugh. The laughter also helps us get along with each other. When we're holed up in, when we do the summits, you got 3 days that you're spending with, the other people. If you can't crack some jokes, if you can't laugh at some jokes, that's going to be a really tense room really fast. And fortunately, we've got people who all have great senses of humor and are able to laugh. You were pointing? Oh, sorry, Andy.
So, and you may have covered this, and if so, I apologize. If you had phenomenal cosmic power to change one thing in the next 5 years for Convergence, what would you change?
If I had cosmic power and could change one thing for Convergence in the next 5 years, what would I change?
What would be your vision?
Can I include the presidential election in that? The federal, I mean, the country's one, okay, no, probably the things. If I had the ultimate cosmic power and could change things and yeah, do like a snap, you know, what I would do is fully fund convergence for the next, you know, 10, 20 years, and build in, I think, some staff. I love that this is all volunteer. We are all taking a lot of time into this, and it would be, I think, helpful if we had a couple staff that could do a lot of the details and could support it. I think we've gotten to a place where we're that big. Now, there's no plans to do that. That's not something that is happening. I'm thinking, again, cosmic power. But Convergence as an organization, if it had a core group of staff that could then help and support volunteers, help and support people and work on issues throughout I think that would take some of the load off of different departments. It would give some central places for people to be able to gather information, to be able to figure out how to do things, and would be very supportive throughout.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is the time commitment, weekly, monthly, and yearly of the board position, specifically yours?
What is the time commitment of a board, weekly, monthly, and yearly, and specifically mine? Time doesn't really exist. It's sort of a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. That is the time commitment that you're going along that. The time commitment involved in this will vary weekly, monthly, and yearly, depending upon what we have going on. Some weeks it'll be 5 hours that you just need to check in on the emails at our really low times. Other times, it's a full-time job or more. You know, each of us have different divisions that have different needs, and they go in waves. Publications, for example, their stuff is pretty concrete. They work hard on that, and their need is specific to the certain time frame, and once it's done, and they don't have to do much with that. Social media, on the other hand, is going much faster during the convention than it is throughout the year. The year it's still doing a lot, but a lot of the intense pieces are at the convention because people want to see what's going on. They want to connect. So it varies depending upon what departments you have, what divisions you're over in terms of the time, monthly, weekly, yearly. It is, especially with the stuff that has happened the last few years, it's been a lot more intense and more of a time commitment than I think it has been in years past. I think as we get more used to the hotel, as we get new processes in place, that will hopefully shorten a little bit, but we're also growing. So I can't promise that it will. But you know, I average probably 20 hours a week myself. And that's going if you took all the time throughout the year and fluctuated that. And then at the higher points, it gets more than that. Not to scare anybody away, okay? That is, we're in high volume times right now. As things get into place, we just had a lot of stuff that we had to do. This is going in and out. A lot of stuff that we have to do. Maybe if I lean in. And so that's why these last few years have been much more intense. But as I said, I anticipate as things get set and processes are in place, that eases up. So I don't want to scare anybody that you're walking in and this is it, you got to quit your job and come over to Convergence and we're going to just have you live in the basement of the hotel for the next, I mean, Nadine does that, but that's him personally. Don't, go ahead and think that's everybody. Where is he? Because he'll love that joke. But overall, it's just something that does take time. You got to love it. You got to want to do it in order for it to have meaning. I hope I'm answering all the questions because everybody's just like quiet.
So it occurred to me based in part on some text messages I've been getting from our fellow board members who are not present, that we kind of inverted the time on this. That this was supposed to be the meet and greet phase where you actually went out and like shook hands and kissed babies. The Q&A is supposed to start at 2.
Yep.
So maybe we take a break.
Okay.
And then at 2, when we've got people coming in who
3
I think
actually.
that's, is it 3 that's the Q&A?
2 o'clock is the
general
commission meeting.
So maybe we take a break now, and you can go out there and shake babies and kiss hands.
Listen after baby.
And then we resume later with more questions when we've got people who actually expect to be here to ask questions.
Okay. All right. So how about if I wave at babies? That might be a better way. So we're going to take a break right now. 3 o'clock, we'll be back with more Q&A. Thank you, everyone.
George Lucas, cradling baby.
Question for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for all this stuff. I'm going through all my books. Okay. Sure, I don't need a lot.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Some of them are 400 or 500.
Okay.
Now, some of them are less than some of them. It's a little bit heavier.
Okay.
Some science fiction. I have 3 books in here. You might be interested. They're small books, generally, and they're actually comics. One's Green Lantern. I can't think of the other two. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
I'll bring one to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll remember.
Okay. I'm trying to make sure I can come to something like that. Board summit on that Saturday morning. So I'm looking for the afternoon, then night, Saturday night. You don't want to miss it. No. That's I got to make sure that things can end.
But I'll have to, and if not, I can always get to that.
It's the,
Okay.
who's got a baby? Tater tots, eggs. It's really good. If you like a good meal, that's all I have. I mean, if you're expecting to be spiced like a regular burrito. Oh, yeah, no. That's from downstairs. You gotta take the elevator.
We'll be sending you 2 days. So basically, that goes to me. I believe so, yeah. Okay. So I always go to everybody. So this is your ticket.
I have 3 hours to get there, so it's fine, but.
Without. They'll smoke fire everywhere. What happened? Because the fire was not actually in the building. Because I don't have the eye in the back of the head. Something like specialized pigments that, yes, they developed pineal gland because when Superman got one. Red kryptonite.
You know, I've seen that it's online, so, you know, you can always try that one.
Tell me about the rebranding stroke thing. I mean, asking about this.
I don't know much about it, but you probably know that.
At the point we agreed for the two. Talking about doing some meets on the side.
Yeah.
And it starts his job and yeah, so I was like, you know, now
Everything
that may be able to be better on that in the first half of next year. In between times.
He didn't say anything about Canada. He said strawberries.
I'm trying to give myself that embarrass as much. Yeah, and you know, and put it so you have obviously good resources, you know, doing more, but at the same time,
I've actually start doing.
yeah, so that's kind of.
I miss tips. You can tell me stories.
It's cereal beverage. No, we're moving down that way.
What's yourself?
We're moving down that way. Well, no, we're spread the chairs out. So we're fine. Okay. On the number of services.
Just the login, your user
They have some really good ones. So anyway, I'm
verifies its name. So there's a certain portion of.
I will watch to see.
They're like, what's a copy right there? I am 40 feet the other way. Saying,
Yeah, you're doing great.
Is there something? Please don't kill my jumper, Mr. Stone. They keep the Kevin, the snakes out there are all they're from professionals.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Hey, how you doing? I'm just drinking water. So what team is your top here?
Oh, no, I just did it on the which is that's one way to do it. What I'm saying is, I could check and I need to sign in. I started 2018. I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You were not crazy. I am the so I get told what
The privilege is there.
yeah, I privilege is strong with this one.
Yeah.
What is going on right now?
Yeah. Like, this is how it really is.
And other this is just why someone might what is the best angry for saying something saying why you should think about that and then having crap
There you go. There's your way. I guess what? The partnership gets that. Someone else's problem. I don't see the haters or talking about
well, that's why I was hoping to be get together.
I'm still hoping we can manage to interaction.
With a cover on it.
It sounds like they just made that up to compete topics.
No, like it's like.
I bet it's something that translates from Germany or something.
Yeah, like it's like like there's a word for it that's like one word in English.
Just by my first lock, you might get stuck. That was the word. Here's my resume. I am saying about tracing the
Have you met John?
I just didn't I didn't see. I can touch.
Mine have
Need help?
Sure.
Great. He's in your department now.
Yeah.
See how you do it? Figure out where you need to go to work. I'll have to come over. You know, I love swag.
Yeah.
We're still gonna steal them for things on our side, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll formalize this.
Yeah, this is like one of my major.
Sorry, that's not like a conversation.
So would you care? Needs a home. Go hand out things.
I mean, we're all in one.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of like that. 2 years ago? Yeah.
Come on.
Hi.
Did you have any kids?
I need to.
Is there anyone else that's over the legacy? Well, besides Amazon?
Well, no, but I'm probably positive I saw back when Lord of the Rings came out, I did like interviews on the 3-disc magazine. There was a younger guy, my younger I knew was
Okay.
the last name Phil. So I don't know if it maybe like his nephew once or something like that.
But either way, somebody was going to take over.
His name was right.
So I'm looking forward to that. Not sure. Is that during the second day?
I didn't know what's happening until I saw this thing.
They've already clicked. Really? Apparently it's coming out later this year.
Oh, the localization of the internet makes it really hard to watch.
Oh, dude. Yeah, hold on. If you don't have a Plex account, go to.
I do have a Plex.
Okay, so.
It's not on my thing, so I know where it is.
Yeah. Type in your email. I'll invite you. I put all the different stuff on that. Yeah, so like all the Apple TV shows, all the Disney Plus shows are on there.
I would like to watch the Mandalorian at some point.
Well, it's on there, so you won't have access to it. And then there's a thing that you can go on a trip and download to like your iPad or your yeah. And there you go. It's like Netflix. Yeah. There you go. You're invited.
We have I've nicknamed it Mike. Mike has one.
Yeah, mine. But yeah, here. There's a movie count.
You have the original Son of the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How did you get your hands on that?
Internet.
Oh man. Oh, do you have Disney's Halloween?
Yeah. Yeah. I got all of them.
How long are we?
Nice.
And if there's something I don't have, ask me something that's later. I'll be like,
There's actually one that I have.
I have it all automated now. So I can log in from home and just like download this thing and then put it in the computer and download it.
There is a video that I have to manually rip because it cannot be found.
Which movie?
There's a TV series out of the UK in the 80s called Robin of Sherwood.
I'll find it.
3 seasons. My friend Mike tried to do some automated downloads. And he only found half of it.
Let me see if I can find it. Robin of Sherwood.
Well, I still eventually suggest they have some just are recommended.
All right.
Still.
Robin of Sherwood.
It was weird. It's got synth music, but you know.
One of those.
It wasn't bad, but also it won awards for the it was the first adaptation of musical cherries.
Okay.
Let's take
It's on the list.
because I can look at mine.
Salmiakis.
And Mikey is the person who would know
Salty. They're actually kind of awesome.
I don't really know what happened to it.
I like salty.
What is good?
Okay, so
It's a
the place
Finland
that
thing.
there is
What is our intent?
I would eat there. I tried.
They're yours.
Oh, there's a restaurant that's in front of my rule number 2 is they'll call later. And I was like, oh, Ryan,
It sounds great to me.
So you make it on the door.
yeah, I would eat chicken.
Depending on where the sign was, is about as far as you get.
I love roast. Give me 1 minute. Yeah.
You can always call me. And we don't live that far.
So I would bet. Yeah, that's normal. You can ask Mike. Mike,
I'll let you.
just a quick question. She was noticing that, and I noticed mine too. That's what we want to make sure. So, yep.
Cordial cherries. You got that. That would be 2 minutes ago.
Yep. I'll tell people 5 minutes.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna see how the line is there. Really long before.
Oh, I stole
It's
that.
live and it's been live for 53 minutes.
We're gonna get started in about 5 minutes here, give people a chance to kind of settle down. It's 2:01, so 2:06. We'll start on the convention committee.
I'll take.
So
I bought them at Walmart on the right side. I'm trying to do a dry January. Nice. So shop's gonna be. Yeah. This stuff is between. Yeah, we want everyone to be comfortable. Yeah, chunky. So am I. What do you? Thank you. And you are. I will send you the
Yeah, it takes me all 5 minutes.
Right. Logistics. How old is this guy? He's done. How old is he? Looks like yeah. Oh.
And then I went to my tasting and had a 18. It was a very expensive tasting.
I bet it was. We're in a meeting.
It sounds probably for
But they have a court.
There's rules about like whether
what you have to pay if you want to serve for senior space.
we do not have that.
Now, if you and me are sipping out of a
15 first
oh yeah, you want to fly to Chicago? What? Wow. That's what they got some supplies. Some great supplies. Yeah, maybe the I'm jealous.
I just more towards the
My taste is a good Scotch. There you go. I got a few favorites.
That's where my buddy is.
Across the board.
You want to
well,
that
it's
Chicago's the first place. Let's go with you.
Winter?
January 1 at Winter. January 1 at Winter. And Michigan too.
So Minnesota's probably
2 years away.
if Walls and Chuck knows that's probably.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
No, he wants tax records.
Of course he does. You should look at
$1 million extra dollars.
Probably gonna grab this.
Right? Literally, like Colorado has a multi-billion-dollar surplus because of they're writing free health care for everyone that makes their shit money. Like your health care is just gone. They're writing free trade school education. A 2-year associate's degree paid for by the state. How long do you think? All day.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Too much for me.
Throw them on the table. Somebody
That's good policy.
Free food from Singapore.
Yeah, what about? Oh, like original shit? Oh, like I bought the original. So like, Rick just
There's my
he sold the mold. So. He said he set up here, but he sold the mold stuff. These are cast members on TV molds. I like the space for photos. I had spoke one company so well, I mean, that's what
Right?
I love that. It's like the most McMurray thing.
I need to make it a test. Since I have now gotten the question about 15 times in the last 5 minutes, the portal does not have up-to-date registration information at this time. We know, if Thomas has been made aware, it will be fixed. Thank you. Don't make me wish for a bow and arrow.
Hello.
I already have to see Dave.
Yes.
But I'm gonna.
What's the secret?
All right. It is time to get started at the convention committee meeting, so I'm going to call us to order on that. We've got a couple announcements, not a tremendous amount to go through here, but a few things people should know. First off, budgets have been approved. The budget's been approved. Yay! First, the kind of somewhat scary news, we're short in some areas, and your director will be discussing possible areas where you might be able to cut. Now, just like it says on the Hitchhiker's Guide, don't panic because of the second piece. So we're looking at ways, exploring some ways in order to try to make up some of the difference for that. So right now, the budget's been approved is where the budget is at. We're going to look at what else we can do to fill some of the gap. We're looking at some kind of new territory, which is fundraising and grants and sponsorships. So the board is working that out. As that gets fleshed out, we'll share that with you all so that you can see, one, how you might be able to help, two, some ways that you may have some ideas and things like that. But don't panic yet. Let us kind of work through this process. I anticipate we'd be back by the March meeting with ideas and information for people. But we're looking for that to try to help fill out the budget a little bit. I know you got a question, John. Give me just a second. Let me finish this other piece, which is when will it be online? It's not online yet. We're working to get it up online. It'll be up as soon as possible, but your division director will send you specific information for your department so that you have that and you can know where to go. Sean, you had a question?
Just a smart ass comment. You can keep going.
Oh, man.
I was wondering
good,
if
though.
Wells Fargo could sponsor the main stage or something.
There's a possibility.
Right.
So election, we will have one. There will be voting for the External Relations and Communications Department. That is my position. It is the only one up. There were no other candidates, so it is me. We had no candidates for the activities, so we'll be making an appointment for that position after the start of the next con year. And that will just be to fill out the 1 year. The activities position will be back up as a special election at the 2021 annual meeting, and that position will then fill out the remainder of the term, so it stays on track for the staggered offices on that. I think that's everything with that. If you have any interest in that activities, go ahead and send an email to president@convergenceevents.org. Next up, we've got department announcements. I will call up the departments that we have. When you come up, go ahead and say your department so people know what you have. If you're not on this list, let myself know so we can add you if you're coming up for announcement. Right now, I've got programming, gaming, publications, finance, allocations, arrivals and departures, and transportation.
Yes, invited participants art show.
All right. She said guest invited participants in art show. Awesome.
And SRD.
Okay, wait a minute.
So on behalf of gaming, if you are interested or have friends who are interested in running a game at Convergence 2020, the gaming department tells me that the form will be live in the near future. Please, check the website. The link will be there as soon as it is available, but it is not a bad idea to start thinking about that now. Any questions?
Hi there. I'm actually making the announcement on behalf of registration. We have people coming to our con. It's exciting. As of today, the registration numbers stand at 2,430 the last time I looked today. This is down year on year about 500. Now, put that in context, that number, that gap year on year for the last 3 weeks when I've been watching it like a hawk because of the pre-reg deadline has been a constant between about 400 and 600, not proportional. We have lost about 500 people who aren't coming. That may be it. We may be pretty good, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't be getting the word out. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your neighbors, tell your strangers in the street. Strangers have the best candy. To come to Convergence because we're awesome. And right now it is still only $85, which is still a bargain for everything you get for 4 days of entertainment. I might have an opinion about that, maybe. So that's the news in terms of registration. We're doing pretty well. So in case you were worried, we're actually okay, I think. That's all I got. Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see how well the mic actually works here. It sounds like it's off. Oh, okay, sweet. All right, Mike Stroh, Finance. Hi. Real quick, just so that everybody is aware, we have new forms for payments, requests, and reimbursements. Everything is on one form now. You don't have to try to figure out which one to use. I even put some instructions on the back.
Yay! Is this before or after submitting a request?
Huh? No, I didn't.
Was it before or after I submitted my request for the 8th?
Before and after, I guess. I haven't seen anything. Come talk to me, rather than boring everybody else. Okay, so short version is the form has changed a little bit. Department heads, it will make more sense to you than everybody else because it's involving the new accounts and categories and stuff like that we have. Tied to that, I am hoping to start doing some training for department heads so that when your staff members ask you, how do I fill this out, you can actually answer that question. Keep an eye out. I hope to maybe start doing that next month. More details to come. Apparently there's a question over here.
Isn't the instructions go talk to Mike?
Yes, right now, and I'd really like that to not be the instructions.
Fair enough.
Any other smart aleck comments from the gallery? I'm looking right at you. Yes. Any legitimate questions? All right, I'm sure you will think of some eventually, so come talk to me if you have any. Thanks.
Greg Finseth with programming. Just a reminder that our schedule is unchanged, even though the convention date's changed. Sign-ups for panels will be going live on February 1st. So sign up early, sign up often. Putting my mapping hat on, I have finished the remaining rooms in the hotel and reshot pictures of several of them. So I'll be putting a link to the mapping site in the CONCom notes.
Hi there, I'm Karen from Allocations, Hotel Room Allocations. Yay, we can hear me. I have a special announcement that hopefully next Wednesday, the 22nd, we're going to have the link sent out to all of you for hotel rooms. Yay! So I have to get that firmed from the hotel yet, so fingers crossed you will get an email next Wednesday or Tuesday night. Yes?
I thought I read when I bought my membership that it said just book your hotel room with the hotel on the page.
Show me where it says that, because we have to correct if it says that you have to call the hotel.
It didn't say you have to. It just said there will not be a hotel out here this year. Feel free to call the hotel to book your room.
After this date or whatever.
Well, there was a date.
Or something, I don't know.
Yeah,
Karen, would you please, and everyone else who's taking announcements and taking questions, please remember to repeat the question so the people on the stream actually know what you're responding to.
Okay, so the question was, or comment was, that somewhere on the website.
When I registered.
When she registered.
It said like, there's no hotel lottery, which we know.
That there is no hotel lottery.
Ma'am, I've got it up right here and I can tell you exactly what it says.
Thank you.
Hotel reservations. There will not be a hotel lottery for 2020. The Hyatt Regency in Minneapolis will begin accepting reservations in February 2020. More information regarding reservations will be made available prior to February 2020. So it follows exactly what you're saying, and we're good.
Okay, good. Yay. Thanks, guys.
Karen.
Hi, this is Ace, co-head of Nerf Herders, and just a quick announcement. If you have space like that you're going to be, if you have a room or a set of rooms that you're going to be using during the convention for some form of convention space, Nerf Herders would ask that you start thinking about where your entrances and exits are going to be so that we can make sure we're routing lines and traffic correctly around and through. We're not asking for you to send those to us right away if you don't know. If you do know, great, do send that to us. But we want to be working with you to try to make sure everyone's needs are being met effectively. So if you have any questions on that, no? Awesome, thank you.
Hey, I'm Andy from operations, and I have the, I killed the mic? I didn't do anything to the mic.
Check the switch for us.
How about now?
There you go.
Wow, I can operate a mic apparently. This is good training for later. I get to tell you that you could ignore something for the next couple of months. Typically, radio training for operations for all those departments that are going to be using a radio starts in March. We are still planning to keep to that schedule. So don't ask us about it yet because we're not going to do it yet. March. No, Sean, not for you either. Prime in the back. You guys are supposed to be doing the training. He asked, what about us? Prime being one of the trainers. I would suggest perhaps maybe that you should start in February. No, he's not. We share. Any other questions? Thanks.
Hi, I am Kimber for transportation. I've got a couple of things to say regarding shuttles. Shuttles have been confirmed already. That being said, it is one shuttle. We are cutting the amount of the shuttle usage based on survey usage that we got for last year. So it's going from 2 shuttles to 1 shuttle, and it's going to still be a wheelchair accessible, but a 12-person shuttle. That being said, there will also be shuttle stop signs, and I will need a second person to help me make those because it will involve concrete. So if anybody wants to be on the project team for that, I'm going to need some help with that. So if you can contact transportation at, what's up?
I'll send you an email.
I already got a volunteer, that's great. Transportation at convergence.con.org. And transportation could still use help with computer and info gathering for a person who is in generally the area. So email me that as well. Thank you.
Maybe this is on. Is it on?
So,
yeah. Bonus. Hi, I'm Kat from Guest of Honor, and I have an incredible fear of public speaking, so sorry. Yeah. Okay, trying. So I have actual people to announce as guests of honor. Some of you already got the email that we have Matthew Kesson, aka Reverend Matt of the Reverend Matt Monster Science Show. He does monsters, lore. Yeah, what?
May I hold this for you?
I'm sorry, I move. You want your phone back?
Yes. Which one's mine?
Here you go. So he's got like monster lore, scientific fact, and a whole bunch of humor all wrapped up into one. Some of you have seen his shows. They're pretty awesome. And then we also are announcing Brianna Lawrence and Jessica Walsh. So they are known for cosplay, fiction, freelance writing for such things as like WatchMojo.com and Uncanny Magazine. So they do like all sorts of stuff, and they're very excited to be here. And then also tossing in the reminder that you can always suggest a guest of honor through the website. We might not get to them this year, but for future reference, we at least have them. So that's through the main convergence.com site. Feel free to make suggestions as often as you want. That's it.
Good job. Brianna Walsh is the one with like the super cool ball gowns made out of various intellectual properties, like the Buzz Lightyear dress. That's Brianna. All right. Hi, I'm Rachel. I am one of the co-heads of staff resources and documentation, along with my co-head Jeff. You should wave. We are ramping up our activities, and we're looking for a specialist to round out our ranks. We are looking for folks who are detail-oriented, can spend maybe 1 to 2 hours a week reading very dry material, and who feel themselves good at proofreading documents. If you're interested, please drop us a line. We will be available during the working portion, or you can email us at srd@convergence-con.org. Does anyone have questions? Great.
Hello, Stefan, co-head of publications. I just wanted to reiterate that we were in fact sticking to the normal deadlines of April 15th for submissions for the guide. I have gotten a number of extension requests. I have a spreadsheet for them, and these are the ones that I have. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any. So if you have sent one in and I don't read it out, if you could send it again, because I apparently lost it. Parties, programming consisting of programming Connie's Quantum Sandbox, Theater Ipone, events and special exhibits, WordSinger's Way, potential TV department, invited participants, harmonic convergence, advertising, and operations are all of the requests that I have gotten for extensions. If you have sent me in one and I did not list it, please get in touch with me again, and I will get the list updated. Also, if I could speak with programming when this is all over and done with. Oh, sorry, I can go this way.
Hi, I'm Lori McLeod, brand new to staff. Thank you.
Welcome.
I am head. Oh, thank you.
Ignore the D.
Yes.
Yes.
And don't give them an email address.
I'm apparently head of arrivals and departures.
Yay!
It is arrivals and departures. Okay.
He gave you an email address?
Actually, that gentleman right there did.
Okay. All right.
It is
That's
not.
safer.
It is not the in and out department.
You realize it is going to be
It's
called
not,
that now.
it's not what it's going to be.
No.
Can we call it
art? No, we are and.
I want animal stock.
No, we're and.
It's our first time, come on.
Logistics and I decided to put off our meeting until after the holidays because everything got kind of busy, so more information to follow.
Hi, everybody. Lara, co-head First Advisors. Couple of things. As everybody knows, we got new space in this hotel, which gave us rooms. It's amazing. It's like going from an apartment to the Taj. It's awesome. I mean, really, it is. It's great. So we moved into the Taj Mahal. We have 3 rooms. One of them is large, and we are actually going to be calling it our grounding room, not our drowning room. Somebody thought I said that. Grounding. Because it is large, if people are having, I'm going to use the word, I don't know what another word, meltdowns, having problems, needing quiet time, needing a room, a place to just be that is more than like a sensory room, more than anything, it's a quiet room. We are looking for items to put in that quiet room to help refocus. One of those items we have discussed is Legos. Now, due to budgetary restrictions, we can't go buy them, or I would be having a grand time in the Lego room. I see you. In the Lego store. Can't do that. So we are looking for donations. Regular sized Legos. I see you. Huh? Okay. Hold on. I gotcha. Go ahead. Yeah, not like we need. So if anybody has Legos, we're looking for regular sized Legos, not the super blocks. We don't need Duplos or any of that, we're just regular size. And I don't care if they're Legos, I don't care if they're Creo. I mean, truly, I don't care. But we are looking for Legos. If you have them and are willing to donate them, we are not giving them back. I'm not going to sort them at the end of con, so everybody can have theirs back. Sorry, not doing it. I can't sort my own, let alone everybody else's. So please let us know. Send an email to First Advisors at, and then let us. Thank you, Nikki. And let us know if you have Legos that you are willing to donate to us. Now, I saw you. I can't remember your name. Transportation. Kimber.
Sorry, I was reading the line note.
That's right.
Do you want adult coloring books?
The question asked is, do we want adult coloring books?
A giant bucket of colored pencils and markers?
And a giant bucket of colored pencils and markers? Yes.
Okay, cool.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
How is this room different from the rooms that have been on the bridge operations in past years? It's just that there's things in it? How is it?
The question is, how are these rooms different than the rooms that have been on the bridge in past years? These rooms are different and we let one in, and it's usually with a first advisor. This is in our room, so they need to have a first advisor present. There's, these are beyond, I just need a quiet space. This is, I need a quiet space and I need some, I don't want to say supervision because that's not it, but somebody to keep an eye on me. Yes. And
the operations will still have our quiet spaces as we have in the past. This doesn't change anything on our side.
No. Andy from operations said that they will still have their rooms and operations. It doesn't change anything for them. I saw hands. Go ahead.
Does it make sense to characterize this as a first aid sort of room, like a mental health or emotional?
Yes, it's one of the rooms in First Advisors. It's the same rooms we had last year. It's just we're looking for stuff to put in them because what we realize is that sometimes people need things to refocus. I know I was just telling the board, I was going through a really, really tough time about 7 years ago. And in order to get my brain off of that thing, I refocused by doing Lego sets, and I have dozens. So, I mean, and it just helped my brain refocus on something else so I didn't have this over here. And so that's what we're looking at doing.
Laura?
Yes.
We have a comment from the stream.
Okay.
From the chat. I recommend silicone baking trays or something for the Legos. They can themselves be very noisy. If that is a good idea, I'd be happy to purchase and donate one.
We will take them.
From Lisa Horton.
We will take them. Go ahead.
Are you looking for basically random mixed bricks or sets?
We will take either. We will take, the question was, are we looking for sets or random mixed bricks? We will take both. Mixed bricks, obviously people can build their own things. They can build a wall, they can build whatever. I always used to love building just a wall. That was my wall and it was great and it worked. There are other people who, who have sets, and I used to get the little Star Wars. This is my extent of my Star Wars knowledge. I would absolutely set these little sets up together. So anything, we will take anything. Any other questions? Any questions about First Advisors? Let's just get that out there too. Oh, the other announcement we have is that there's a phone number that we gave out to everybody last year. I will get it again and give it out closer to the convention. We are going to keep our Google number. And so people can actually send us messages, send us, call us what they need to do at Convergence to get a hold of one of us. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, First Advisors, thank you for taking care of us.
The comment was made, thank you for taking care of us. Thank you for allowing
Even when we're
us.
drunk and stupid.
Well, drunk and stupid is kind of our mantra. So, we do what we can. Yes, sir. The phone number that we have is a Google Voice number for departments, not for everybody. It is only departments. The question was, is the Google Voice number, okay, wait. Okay. The question was, is the Google Voice number for departments or anybody at the con? It is for departments only, and we will get that out to everybody.
Got a comment.
Yes.
Saying the operations number is for everybody. So if you need First Advisors, of course, contact operations by that.
Andy from operations said their number is for everybody. So if you need to just send them a random text telling them how wonderful they are, go for it. And if you need a First Advisor, let them know.
Got a comment off the chat just saying that they really love having the Google number.
Apparently there is a comment off of the chat saying they really love having the Google numbers. So we are going to get that out. All right. Any other questions about anything First Advisor? Seeing none, adjourned. Run away, quick, run away.
Make sure it's working. Hi, I'm Crystal from Volunteers. This year, Volunteer Week is from April 19th to the 25th. On the 19th, we will be having a CONCom meeting unless something changes. So to wrap up the week, volunteers will be hosting the annual volunteer rally at GPS on Saturday, April 25th from 1 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. In preparation for that, we will be emailing departments about their Sign Up Genius needs. So please watch your department emails. If you have any questions about this, please email volunteers@convergence-con.org or see me during the working portion, but we would prefer that you email our department because I am the only one for our department here today. Any questions?
What's it called again? What's the event called?
The event is the volunteer rally. It's basically a place where people who are interested in volunteering at Convergence, mostly during the con, can come before the con, find out what it's about, find out what positions are open, what different departments do, get ideas for what they might want to volunteer with at convention. And then because we'll have Sign Up Genius pages ready, they can potentially sign up for volunteer shifts ahead of time as well. Any other questions? Okay.
Hi, this is Trisha from Invited Participants. I just want to say we have 31 people who we have invited and are recognizing as invited participants this year. A couple stats that I have. 10 of them have never been in IP before to their knowledge. 5 of them are from outside the Metro Twin Cities, and 17 people have indicated that they're interested in working and volunteering for the convention and more than just during panels and signings. So the invited participants department will be contacting those departments and letting them know who's interested in doing what, and that way we can help make this convention better. Second thing I'm noticing, I'm making note of is that I am resigning from being invited participants because I'm going to grad school in Canada. And those dates may also run through Convergence. So it actually doesn't make any sense for me to be doing that and trying to pack and sell the house and other things like that. So I'm going to introduce the new head of the department, and her name is Tiana Hayes.
So as we all know, I am co-head in name only because Trisha is 90% of this department. So she has done an amazing job in years past. And now that she is going to grad school, we are in desperate need of volunteers for the IP department. So if you have anybody that's interested, yes?
I'm sorry, I missed your name.
Tiana, but Ty is easier. So if anybody is interested in volunteering for the IT department, let us know. we will gladly talk with anybody that wants to work with those that are interested in furthering the diversity and skill set of those that we asked to be part of CON. So let us know.
And I'm the subhead in the department right now, and the other volunteer opportunity that we will need, and the big thing at CON, is to have someone sit in and review the panels that the varied IPs are on, because we want to make sure we're getting good feedback specifically about our invited participants to aid in selection in future years. So if you know anyone who likes to go to panels anyway and is looking for a volunteer opportunity, I will probably be the person coordinating that for our department. Any questions for that? Cool.
Hello, I'm Nick with Logistics, and I'm just here to shake it. Hi, I'm Nick with Logistics, and I just wanted to announce that we're kind of formalizing our process for this year, given the extra time we've got. So at every general CONCom meeting, we will be setting up in a back corner of the main room, and we'll just have our own table. We tend to get mobbed during the working portion, so if you could come find us one at a time, that would be really great. Yeah? Yeah? Please do that. Ignore Nadeem. Beyond that, we kind of work with EOS. Once EOS is finalized, we get a copy of those documents and we create our own set of documents with that information. At the last couple of CONCom meetings, last 3 CONCom meetings to be specific, we will have copies of those documents. We would like you to come review those with us in the back corner of the main meeting room at the logistics table, wink, to make sure that everything's correct. We don't want to show up to drop off your stuff only to realize that just because the room was open at 8 doesn't mean you were there at 8. So, am I forgetting anything?
One at a time.
One at a time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that note,
John, I have an announcement to make, and then so I'm telling you now.
Is this for which department?
Hi, I'm Eric McEnroy, the Evil Dockmaster Emeritus. I'm currently a CONCom member at large, and I'm looking for a home. Anybody that works with food, no. No, JT.
The soup must flow.
See me in the working portion.
That's a lie.
A&D would like a Evil Dockmaster of their own.
Can you repeat that for the stream?
People would like their own Evil Dockmaster, apparently. Eric, did you have an announcement? Because I'm art show at the moment.
I have a question.
Sure. Eric has a question.
It appears that there isn't a link yet for signing into the CONCom meeting.
It appears that there isn't a link yet for signing
Same
in.
as it ever was, signin.convergence-con.org.
Usually there's an email.
There was an email. It was the announcement of the meeting. It's in here. It says meeting sign in.
Okay.
There is apparently, it is in the announcement meeting email thing if you haven't gotten it already. Sorry.
The place that time. Yeah.
I'm Stephanie. I'm making the announcement for Art Show because Art Show is not making announcements today. There are 2 art shows coming up that we are marginally associated with. One of them is the Button Mashers Art Show, which is on February 15th from 4 to 10 p.m. at A Mill Artist Loft, 315 Southeast Main Street, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And if you want more information, I have a QR code that you can kind of scan on this nice big folder. The other one is on my phone that I forgot to bring with me. Also on February 14th through 15th is Safe Word, an erotic art show. And literally all I know about it is the name of the date if you want more information. I would distinctly recommend asking Google about that, not on a work laptop, but Ainsley seems to. It's the Otherworldly Arts Collective, and that should give you, is doing both shows? Oh, okay, is doing both shows. So if you want any more information, then indeed, you should have enough Google search terms at the moment, or you can probably email artshow and one of them will answer you. Nonetheless, more importantly, Holly, you just said something. Oh, okay. Can you remind people we need more runners and auctioneers for the art auction? Okay, so typically in years past, I don't know how many of you made it to the art auction, but we have one of those, and we're trying to get a broader diversity of human beings involved, especially in the runner portion of it. This would also be a good option for somebody who
Runs?
Not so much runs, but if you want to show off a cosplay, for example, that you can move in, this would be a, I'm sorry, the laptop that I'm staring at just informed me that it needed to run updates. I had to get rid of that screen before I could do anything else. Anyway, yes, if you would like to be a runner, next meeting, I would suggest talking to Art Show about it, because I don't think anyone's here from Art Show right now, because they were running another art show. If anyone has any questions? Seeing none.
I can answer the questions about art show, auction, and running.
Yes, Eric has been an auctioneer in the past, so has at least one other person in this room, I think. Anyway, more importantly, JP, do we have anything else, or are we going into election stuff?
No, we have other stuff.
Oh, we have other stuff first.
All right, next up is partner announcements. I don't have any listed. Are there any partners that need to make announcements? All right, seeing none, we have community announcements. I have one that is on there. Where's Nick? There he is. All right. Are there any other community announcements?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Rosenkrantz, and I'm holding the microphone that's probably working. I'm up here as a community announcement for a convention I recently came to the knowledge of. It's about video game music. It's called the Video Game Music Convention, and I'm going to be going this year for the first time. It's in March, so about 2 months. It's on March 6th through 8th, and it says there's going to be live music, gaming, workshops, and guests. I'm going to be there, and it'd be great to see other familiar faces there. That's my community announcement.
Awesome. Thank you. That's it. Was it for him? He's moving really fast. You got to catch it. I don't have a lasso. Where's the lasso of truth?
I left it at home, I'm sorry.
Move like the wind.
Hi, this is Nick Rosenkrantz again with an extended community announcement. I'm talking with you today about the Video Game Music Convention, or VGM Con. It's taking place at the Sheraton, Minneapolis West on March 6th through 8th. I hear that there's more information at vgmcon.org, or you can chat with me after the working portion.
Thank you. He's so fast. All right. No other community announcements. Then we are at the working portion, and who needs to talk to who? Does anybody need to talk to anybody? Computer gaming needs to talk to IT. Parties needs to talk to arrivals and departures. IP needs to talk to Teen Room and Sandbox.
Andy needs to talk to somebody from main stage if possible.
Andy needs to talk to somebody from main stage if possible. Nadine?
I would like to talk to Stephanie and Art Show together.
Nadine wants to talk to Stephanie and Art Show together. Safe to come back to you?
SRD needs to talk to main stage.
SRD needs to talk to main stage.
Event orders.
Event orders.
Accessibility.
Accessibility.
Registration.
Registration.
Not registration.
Not registration.
Roger Pavel from photography.
Roger Pavel from photography.
CBG TV.
CGV TV.
And main stage video.
And main stage video. Did I say CGV? It's CBG. Sorry. Whichever. All right. Anybody else? Not seeing any hands. Oh, IP? IP needs to talk to creative services and somebody else, or just to creative services? Creative services, okay? Going once. Ace.
How is working portion going to line up for the election?
We're gonna stop at 3 and we'll go into the general membership and the election. So if you're in the middle of stuff, stop that at 3, as we'll do the general membership meeting and the election, and then you can come back after that's done. All right. Laura?
It's just a question, is the voting going to be online?
The voting is online, yes. Okay. Seeing none, all right, then go ahead and go do that voodoo that you do so well.
You still need to show me. I took a bunch of photos.
And we'll pause until 3.
Yeah. I don't want to put it on the wiki. I'll put it on the wiki. As long as we still have the wiki. Until the wiki gets decommissioned. It's gonna go away, but we'll put it there for now. I don't know where other stuff is going.
Might be appropriate, but
Yeah, thank you. I like it. Oh, I like it.
All right, looking on. If you want to. Ask guests.
They always been planning. They're kind of bring their computer.
I've been bringing through trying to everything.
You just can't do it on ours on Thursday night of
More like what.
Are you taking ours or what are you doing?
Okay.
I like to work with you.
No, I just wanted to get everything done. And maybe look at, okay, that would be something and that would be something.
You know, don't forget this 2 power supply. Yeah. So we don't need this for elections, do we?
Yeah, we need this.
Okay, so I'm gonna have Bryce take the stuff in batch, but I'll leave this stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because we're gonna have to live stream.
He's got to go a little early.
All
He's
that
taking
stuff.
laptops this time, so.
Gotcha.
All right, I'll leave this stuff.
Hey, hi. 2 questions real quick. Is there anybody from KTV or from Main Stage Media here?
I don't know.
Also, thank you for your feedback on our true supporters.
Oh, no problem.
Yes.
I like where you guys are going, and I want to talk with you more because I've got some ideas.
Yeah, we've all got ideas. We also like good ideas.
Yeah.
I know.
But I really like what you're doing.
Credit Nick for he's done.
Nick is really good at this.
Yes. Thank you very much.
I'm backing up. There was nobody in the room, so I don't know if anybody. I don't know. CONCom was in it. Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't know if anybody showed up today. So,
I've never seen that.
oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you their website, yeah.
We are working with eventually.
Yeah, if you yes, this fits.
And something going on. Does that make sense? I want to know volume, kind of do a one step. If you're on the other side of the door, you hear stuff coming from. So there is noise, but not as bad as I think. But I have a conversation on the other side of the wall. There's something going on there. There are no wall doors. Where? Like this, there's our wall. I understand. There are no air wall doors. They were all open. It was here's the problem. You could remove these photography into that's what I want. Because I only know them as what they are. Let's go down. So you have to make speech. You have to make speech. Speeches and poll was
working out basically. Oh yeah, you got it tight.
We're doing it wrong. That's all you need to know. We're doing it wrong because neither of you nor the one who actually had the timetable that agreed with Thomas's timetable are here, and we're winning. I'm sure they hear this on the screen right now.
And I was told that I had to. Well, hopefully you only do one thing in that hallway.
There's only one room, set of rooms in that hallway. I don't really police what people do.
I'm the same with moving up to I got no dog in right. Tell me what you want me to do. And make a speech. When do you want me to make a speech?
Great. When we convene the open meeting, which is at 3, the order in the order of business unless someone.
Yeah, there's the good. Yep, there you go.
And then you will pass the bill.
What?
Other business.
I got the Oh no, I don't do that. But I will stop.
Nope.
There's advantages to that.
I will talk later about.
Anyway, we have a manual. So you gotta realize that it also gives you time on expectations.
So the one thing that we have discussed is I can handle that business. I don't know that anybody can do that.
If you want to take it, we may right now, but we don't have to get the election.
Right, I'm talking about before we get to the election. If somebody from the body makes a motion to we open it up for discussion, I'll vote on it. If not, it will.
We still would be.
This is multiple elections or contested elections.
Yeah.
In other words, yes.
Tonight at 10:30.
If you don't promote it, there's also another deal. I'm just throwing that out there. I didn't know if it would be appropriate for you.
He's also a member of Fearless.
Matt Kesson, he was all right. Right.
Yes.
That was part of the process we were yes, that can be done. Yes, that can be good. We're trying to want it to be organized and strategic. Like we know what you're doing. We don't want everybody to just run out to right. So there's a few pieces.
We'll try and knock that off.
There's really a process that you go through.
Oh, no.
But there's also individual donations. The other thing was
Well, I was gonna say, I actually got it on but I just wanna let people, I go, and they say, yeah. I have
I will put that into a process that will finalize get you a letter of no, maybe you still got it. I don't do that, but just, if it changes, I'll tell you it's going to change.
You don't have to budget. You know, so, like.
We'll get away with it.
I have everything built.
All right. 3 o'clock.
Wait for you to get back to me. I think in all fairness,
All right, it's 3 o'clock. Yes, I know, we're waiting on one of our board members.
It's from, IT Crowd. Not Moss. Roy? Yeah, Warren. All the episodes, I'm like, that's hilarious. Why? Ontario Mega Fund? Very cheeky like they show us. On my Plex?
No, but it's on my.
Would you like access to my Plex?
I do Disney Plus.
1,400 movies. Do you want access to my Plex? We're waiting on Yes, Plex?
I have no idea.
Okay. Streaming service, you can stream movies right back into my house.
I've got it started in name, I don't know.
I should have to check your email out. You just go to Plex.tv, sign up, and then have access to like close to 50 movies. Most of them high def.
All right, she's back. All right. You guys ready?
It's time.
All right. It is 3 o'clock, and we're going to go ahead and open up the general membership meeting at this time. I have one announcement, and then if anybody has anything for the body, we'll address that. Otherwise, the one order of business we have is the election. The announcement we have is Matt Kesson, one of the guests of honor, is doing a show tonight at 10:30 at the Phoenix. So just to let you all know about that, if you're interested in seeing more of his work with that. Before we go to the election, is there anything for the good of the body?
I have a motion.
Eric has a motion.
Let's do the election here instead of splitting off.
You're making a motion to do the election here instead of splitting up. The election is going to be done electronically.
Okay, but do it in the room. Floor vote works for me too.
Okay. So are you making a motion to do a floor vote?
Sure.
Okay. Is it a motion to do a floor vote? It has been seconded, moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, JT.
Because the voting rules currently allow both a yes, no, and a no confidence, I do not think that we should have it as a floor vote.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Ace?
Echoing JT, like, even though there's only one candidate, it feels kind of weird to exclude everyone who wasn't able to make it after sending out an email that said, hey, the proceedings will be available online.
Yeah, I agree. Can we do it on the chat?
Oh, one at a time. All I am doing is I'm facilitating this conversation. So, Ace, were you finished with your point? Okay. Other?
Can we do the floor vote electronically or like via the chat as well? So people who are.
There wouldn't be any good way to do it. It would
Right.
basically be a request for acclamation, which would work, except we have a lot of people who aren't here.
Other points of discussion?
The discussion has led me to believe that having this vote proceed and pass would disenfranchise people attending remotely.
Okay.
I withdraw my motion.
The motion has been withdrawn. Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the body? We are doing that. I'm going to turn this over to Stephanie, and she is going to take the next part of this.
Hello, I am Stephanie Zerker, Treasurer of Convergence Events. And that's why I'm getting to do this next portion. In order to proceed with an election, we need election judges. We have 3 people who have stepped up and volunteered to be election judges. If you could please come forward as I call out your name. We have Andy Murphy, Bob Wagner, and Sandy Darst. Andy has been an election judge for several years now. On and off, Andy has also made up a wonderful document about convergence election procedures and has done his best to educate the people who are standing up, who are going to be your election judges. I will now entertain a motion to approve these 3 as election judges. Would anybody like to make that motion? Nick Rosenkrantz has made that motion, and we have a second from Ed. Do we have any discussion on this matter? All right, then we will call for a vote. All in favor, please. I guess raising your hand would be easier. Or say aye. Let's say aye. Aye. Do we have anybody opposed? Do we have any abstentions? 1 abstention. Noted. New York abstains courteously. That joke never gets anyone to laugh.
I got that joke. We all got that joke. That's terrifying.
Anyway, a whole bunch of nerds in the audience. So we now have 3 election judges who have been approved by the body. And I am going to turn over the microphone to Andy Murphy, who is going to do the next portion.
And we're going to step off the stage.
Thank you. The first order of business is that I get all the phenomenal cosmic power. I'd like to thank you all for that. My responsibility here is to run the elections process. I will be doing that with Bob serving as our timekeeper and Sandy helping me make sure we catch everybody for questions. A couple of base things so people know. First off, the eligibility to become a director, because we haven't talked about that today that I have heard, are 3 parts. 1, they need to be a member with current voting rights. What are the current voting rights? I'll come to that in a second. They must be at least 18 years of age or older on the day of the election. And 3rd, they must have been eligible to vote for no less than 2 years, the 2 years preceding, big word, the current election. That's what it takes to become a member of the board. How do I get the right to vote? The vote is volunteer a minimum of 30 hours on activities within the corporation within the preceding cycle. Please note that does not say you have to be a member of Convergence. You can do other things within the convention, the corporation, excuse me. Attend at least 2 official meetings during the preceding cycle. That is why we have you do the sign-in. So please, if you look at your sign-in today and you note, like I did, that I have 2 recorded of my last 10, clean that up. Make sure that they are aware, the secretary and Thomas and the IT folks, that you have that in there, because that drives your voting rights. That drives whether you get the email with the sign-in. It drives whether you have to come talk to me or one of the other judges in order to get you approved so we can get you voting. That's very important for this process. And then finally, you have to be at least 14 years of age or older before the date of the annual meeting, which is, of course, today. Any questions on those 2 sets of requirements? Excellent. The way the election runs, we have 1 person running for 1 position. We have a Q&A session for those, kind of an extension of what the meet and greet was at 2 o'clock, or at 1 o'clock, excuse me. So we will have JP come up, give his own personal statement. He has 3 minutes to do so. We will then entertain 5 minutes of questions and answers. This is where the timepiece that Bob is going to be doing comes in. And then if we still have questions beyond that, we will extend the time from there. Any questions on that part? Seeing none, I will invite JP up to give his statement.
Okay, thank you. I actually don't have a long statement. I will just say that I really enjoy Convergence. I enjoy being on the board and helping to guide and make sure Convergence is doing the work that it does. I love this organization. I love this community, and I love being a part of it. It is something that is very important to me. I've said before that, I didn't really come to Convergence maybe the most normal way. I had a friend who kept pestering me to show up, and having been to a really bad convention once before, I thought, Oh, not another thing of three guys selling comic books in the back of a ballroom someplace. And instead I came and found my people. And that's what it made it so special for me. So I like doing this. I like helping. I like making the convention do the best that it can be. And if you reelect me, I will continue to do that. So I would ask for your support for this position, and happy to answer questions as we go into that. But thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Don't go too far because you're going to be
I'm
right
standing
back
right
here. A question was raised during his speech. If you did not get an email saying that you are eligible to vote, which should have come out about Tuesday, once we get through the Q&A portion of this, please come find me and I will help get you set up with that. Okay? Make sense? How many people did not get an email, just so I kind of have a reference?
Meaning not the link hasn't gone out yet.
Right.
The statement of eligibility, which about 4 copies have gone out.
I got mine, Dan.
Yeah.
Including one about 2 minutes ago.
That's what I got.
It says, and I put a copy in my notes, so I had it. You are registered to vote in the 2020 Convergence Events Board of Directors election. God, I can talk today. This will serve as your official notice that you may participate in the elections to be held on today. That's the first sentence of it. Questions? I see several hands.
One step that way, so people on the camera.
One step this way. All right. Then find me after this and we'll help get you set up. All right. Opening it up for Q&A. Have a hand here, Rachel.
Convergence is currently operating at a much smaller budget than it has been, and you have plans formulated somewhat to do development work. What are some of those plans?
The question was, Convergence is currently operating at a much smaller budget than it has in the past, and we have some plans to do some development work. What are those plans? We're looking into a couple different avenues. One is grants and sponsorships, as well as individual donations. The board will be going through that a little bit at our summit to define what the process. There'll be some opportunities for the community to be involved in that, for the convention committee to be involved in that, but a lot of that will be coming from the board. My background is in nonprofit management, so a lot of the work in terms of writing grants and some of the sponsorships will fall under me, but we're looking at some of the larger foundations and the corporations within the Twin Cities metro area that actually support events, that support conventions. Looking at them to go ahead and sponsor Convergence or to provide donations or grants to us since we're a 501c3. Do I just stand here?
Yep. Other questions? Anyone?
Nick has one.
Hello. Recently, I had asked you what you felt the competencies were that were necessary to be successful as a director. I've heard that you felt it's important to have successful management of relationships, even when people don't directly agree, and levity, a sense of humor. I'd like to take that first one on. Could you describe a time where you managed successfully a relationship that helped this event become successful, even when things were tense?
The question was, can I describe a time when I helped manage a relationship that was tense but still managed it successfully to help the convention kind of go forward? Yes. One I will say is in dealing with the negotiations around the place that shall not be named, we had to have some tough conversations and make sure that they were hearing us and we understood the positions they were coming from. So we were able to negotiate a successful compromise. It was not the greatest, but it was much better than it could have been in terms of holding our last convention at that place and then being able to transition over to a much better venue that fits better with our convention, our community.
Other questions? Going once. Twice. Apparently you're set.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have you stepped out? All right. I am now going to have them trigger the link.
They already did.
They already did? Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Mikey. Their link email should have gone out to you for, I believe it's Simply Voting is the website, if you want to search for it. You can vote between now and 3:30 or when we close the election, which is usually about 30 minutes after JP in this case gets done talking, which is now. Yeah, like I said, if you did not get the link, please come find me and we will resolve that as quickly as we can. We've already had one person or two people resolved even as I was standing up here. So we're getting pretty good at that. Jeff.
For the, like, two of us who don't have laptops or smartphones in the room.
Thank you. If you do not have a laptop or a smartphone,
The laptop's got taken.
laptop's got taken. We'll set up a laptop for you that you can do that on.
I can repurpose that one.
All right, we'll repurpose this one that has the camera on it for you. Any other questions? All right, for those of you who got a link, vote. For those of you people who are online, vote.
I walked in late, I'm sorry, Andy.
Yes, ma'am.
The address again?
You should have just gotten an email with the link in it. It is Simply Voting. And I have a thumb in the back from Nadeem saying that it's still up and running, right? Thank you. Apparently, however, the camera, Ryan, is still showing Stephanie.
Oh.
So apparently Stephanie's voice has changed a lot today.
No, I'm watching the
I'm watching
stream.
it.
It's working
The
great.
notes that are coming up here, the stream is delayed 30 seconds and it's still on Stephanie.
Wow, that's old.
That's
like
old.
5 minutes old.
Okay, it doesn't give me a time frame, so I have no idea.
All right.
All right. Are people able to get into Simply Voting?
I would have.
I get thumbs up from some, from the back. All right, yeah, it looks like we're good. Then I'm going to stop talking up here unless anyone has any last questions. This is my only opportunity at power, Nadeem. I don't need your help from the back.
Andy, remember, ignore Nadine.
Thanks, everybody.
Enfranchise me, sir.
Yeah.
Get in line.
Okay.
You should actually, you know what, I can totally get where you can log in and go to Simply Voting, of course. If not, go to Simply Voting and log in. Okay, all right?
Right, stream is ending.